very much here. University people are here. Ah, yeah, it has started live streaming. Yes, they are very much here. Right. So, welcome to another session and the final class of today's, which will be dealing with ambiguity. Okay. So before that, let me just share the screen. Um, One second. Let me just. I hope you can see the screen.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Did you? Yeah, right. Okay. As we were talking about the ambiguity yesterday, so can somebody tell me what is ambiguity? I think I've just given you a kind of an intro about ambiguity, kind of a confusion about a sentence, not very clear about what the sentence means. Okay. When you try to interpret, you can kind of get probably two different meanings to a sentence, isn't it? Yes. Maybe one person reads it and finds it in this way, and the other person for another way, another meaning it gives you. Okay. And that is called ambiguity. So it's a sentence which lends itself to more than one interpretation. And why does this happen? There are several factors to it. Okay. It might come up because of the lexical factors, or it might be of the structural, or maybe because of a scopal ambiguity. So this is what we're going to look into it. Okay. When you talk about this lexical as it suggests, the multiple meanings of the words. I hope I'm clear. I'm audible here.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Thank you. So, for example, there's a word called bank. Okay. What does this mean? Yeah.
Riverside, ma'am.
Exactly. So, there are different meanings for the word bank, isn't it? And say, for example, now the word silver again, as per the slide, I'd like to tell you, she bagged 2 silver medals. In the next sentence, it says she made a silver speech. Okay. And the other sentence says his worries had silvered his hair. Okay. Look at this word ambiguity. So this is kind of a lexical ambiguity. Okay. Now, another sentence I'd like to tell you. I saw Jobin near the bank. Okay, there is a sentence like this. So bank, which bank? It could be a river bank, or it could be the bank or the financial bank. You can take it. So this is called a lexical ambiguity. So when you read it at a go, you will never get a kind of a proper meaning to it. Okay. And then when you go for the structural ambiguity, now, sometimes a sentence also can be structurally ambiguous. When the different interpretations, can be explained by attributing a different structure to each reading. Okay. Now, for example, right. The car hit the pole while it was moving. Now, this is the sentence. In the lexical, we have an ambiguity with the word. Now, with the structural, you get the kind of an ambiguity with the structure of a sentence. So, the arrangement of words is such that you will find it difficult. I mean, you can get it into two different interpretations. The car hit the pole while it was moving. One might feel it like, okay, that the car hit the pole. Was the pole moving? Okay. Or in one of it, you can even say the moving car would have hit the pole. Or the second interpretation, the car is, actually, I mean, it hit the moving pole. It could be the pole which is moving, right? So that is what is called a structural ambiguity. So one more example I'd like to give you. Now we saw his duck. Now duck is a kind of a bird, isn't it? Now, duck can refer to the person's bird or to a motion he made. Ducking is like, you sit down, you try to hide from somebody. That is called ducking, isn't it? So we saw his duck. And, so here, it's like, the whole structure becomes quite ambiguous, right? Now there's another sentence here. I met the man at the bookshop. So here in one of the instances, you will take it as you met somebody who was waiting near the bookshop. In other interpretation, you might even get that man must be working in the bookshop. He must be an employee there, or he might be purchasing something in the bookshop, something like that. So I met the man at the bookshop. So there are, kind of more than one interpretation is there. So this is again a structural ambiguity. Okay. Another example I'd like to tell you. Young men and women are not allowed. Okay. Now look at this. Young men. There are two interpretations. So it means that men who are young and women are not allowed here. Women and women are not allowed here. So men who are young and women of any age, it means that. Okay. Or it also means that young men and young women are not allowed here. There are two interpretations to it. So one is the age of a man who is young, who's not allowed. Another one which says young men and women are not allowed here. For women, there is nothing as such. There's nothing mentioned as young or old. So it goes like this. So only the men who are young and women of any age are not allowed here. Okay. So this is structural ambiguity, right? Right. And let us move on to the scope ambiguity. Okay. So scope, usually this kind of an ambiguity occurs when there are quantifiers in a sentence. Okay. Scope is the property of quantifiers. So it can be defined as the domain over which a quantifier exerts its influence. So this happens mostly in the sentences that have more than one quantifier. Okay. Now, for example, everyone met someone. How do you interpret this? I need to get an answer from you. Everyone met someone. See, it need not be one interpretation. It can be more than one. So just tell me what comes to your mind when I read out this. Everyone met someone. How do you interpret it?
Ma'am, that means every single person has, at the stage of his or her life, has met some or the other person.
Okay, very good. Another interpretation?
Everybody met the same person.
Same person. Very good. Did you see this? It means that. So this is a scope ambiguity. Okay. Another sentence I'll tell you. Every boy loves his mother. Okay. Now this one.
All boys loves his mother.
Okay, very good. Every single child, a boy might love his mother. Okay. His own mother. Another interpretation. Okay. Can I get another interpretation to this? It means every boy loves his mother. Who is that his? Some XYZ. And that XYZ's mother. Every boy loves that particular child's mother. It means that. Okay, one single child's mother, one friend's mother. So every boy loves his mother. His is nothing but some, probably his, might be their friend called Naval or Naval's mother. So who everyone loves them. So that's called scopal ambiguity. Okay. And I think there's one more example to it for the scopal. Every cat chased a rat. And please remember, for scopal, you always come across a kind of quantifiers. Okay. Like what are quantifiers? Can you please tell me?
Each, every,
Very good. You know,
either,
it exactly. Someone. Okay. All of us. All. Okay. Indicates single. Okay. Every. So this is how, wherever you come across this kind of a quantifier, there is always a scopal ambiguity, right? I mean, if the sentence is projected in the right manner, I'm sure there would be no such ambiguity, but most of the time there is always an ambiguity. Okay, right. Now moving on to the block 5, beyond the sentence. Okay, now so far we've been doing about the sentence. Okay, the structure of a sentence and the kinds of sentences are based on its structure, based on its function, and now the kind of mistaken identities or the ambiguities of the sentences. Now moving on to discourse analysis. That is block 5. This is the, I'm so sorry. Block 5, discourse analysis. So in block 5, you have discourse analysis, and you have, and this is the last block, varieties of English. Okay. And you also have, yeah, I think that's it, right? There are only 2 units in this. Okay, now, what do you mean by discourse?
oral or written communication.
Yes. So you might be wondering what all of a sudden we jumped into this discourse. So discourse is nothing but a group of sentences. Yeah, may it be speech, may it be written. So far we've been doing only sentences as a single structure. Now it's a group of sentences, isn't it? Not group of words, in fact, group of sentences. Okay, they make up discourse. So discourse is nothing but the kind of ideas you convey, the speech, or it could be communication, it could be discussion, or whatever it is called as discourse. So how do we analyze these discourse? I mean, this kind of a discourse. Okay. What are all the things which go into this to, kind of give you the picture of a discourse? Okay. Right. Now, what exactly? I mean, analysis, like it's concerned with the language in use. Okay. And it also depends upon the user also, the language in use and the user too. Okay. And most of the time we come across the variations in language. Okay. And according to the user. And what is that called? There is one particular word when there is a variation in the same kind of a language. Same language, for example. Say
Dialect.
dialect. Very good. And sometimes it could be owing to their regional diversity, or it could owing to their probably the geographical presentation, and there's so many factors for that dialects. Okay, right. So here we're going to look into the first thing is the spoken versus written discourse, linguistic features, right? Now you yourself can tell me, I mean, there are so many obvious features you can give me when you speak what it is, when you write what it is, isn't it? Like spoken discourse characterized by spontaneity, incomplete sentences, and use of paralinguistic cues like tone, volume, and body language to convey meaning. Because when you are speaking, it is so spontaneous, isn't it? And when you sit to write, you'll kind of think it in a proper grammatical manner. When you are speaking, you come prepared and it's like spontaneous. Whereas written discourse, typically more formal with complete grammatically correct sentences and precise vocabulary, relies on textual elements like punctuation to express nuance. Okay, now another thing is what is called as paralinguistic cues. What is it, paralinguistic cues?
So express information.
Okay, I'll tell you. The para is what it's like, simultaneously there is another language which is going on when we are speaking. But the same thing doesn't appear when you sit to write something. A piece of text doesn't find this paralinguistic features. Now, for example, when I am speaking, say, for example, in the offline mode, there's a teacher who's trying to teach you something. Don't you look at her? Apart from the speech, there is a body language which is going on in the form of gestures, and and there are the signaling with the hand, and that is called as, not only that, facial expressions also, right? They are called as paralinguistic cues. But whereas in written, you will read the written text as it is written in terms of text or words, isn't it? There is nothing else apart from what you are reading. And so what are the key differences you come across? Spoken language is context dependent and interactive, while written language is, yes, interactive is one more important thing. Okay. When we speak, we interact, isn't it? The speaker speaks and the listener at times can, you know, can again, give a feedback sort of thing or interrupt the speaker to get a clarification on what the speaker is saying. But whereas when you are reading a written material, can this happen? No. You end up reading whatever is given there and you don't follow it. You try to look up various other sources to get a clear picture of what the writer has written, right? So written language is context independent and monologic, right? And these distinctions, they shape the linguistic choices made. Okay. Right. Coming to the concept of tenor. What is tenor?
Period of time, ma'am.
Tenor is the tone. Okay. Now, usually
Okay.
yeah, the tone of the, whether it is formal, informal, okay, or whether it is polite or familiarity, right? And the speech especially, okay, for which whenever you have to talk about the tenor, you need to know the audience. Audience awareness should be there. Who are the listeners? And accordingly, you'll have to think about the tenor, right? Whether it is formal or informal, right? And see, one more thing I'd like to bring it to your attention that, see, sometimes it can be, polite, which affects the tenor of language. Now, when I say polite, doesn't mean the other one is the impolite way of talking. No, politeness happens when there is a kind of a conversation between two unknown people, isn't it? Two anonymous people. There you always have to, you never notice a kind of a harsh or a kind of a rude kind of a speech. There's always a politeness, right? Now, coming to between two familiar people. Yeah. What is it? That's mostly the informal tenor. Okay. More than the formal, it is informal. So when there are two unknown people, it is polite, and more or less it is formal, isn't it?
So,
So that
ma'am, it
is
depends on the situation. It depends on
exactly
the situation.
context. Exactly. On the context. The tenor depends on the context. Okay. That's what I said. Between two known people, maybe your friend, or again, tenor of the speech, like sometimes maybe with your boss, what would be the tenor of the speech? You know how to? Yes, it would be formal. Yes. Yeah. And what it is, if it is with your parents, it's informal. Yeah, with familiar people, right? So you also can make this, kind of a language sound whether personal or impersonal, isn't it? Now, for example, because of this tenor, you can start feeling somebody's language being very personal or impersonal. I mean, let me tell you here. Look at this difference between these two sentences. We invite you to a lunch. This is one. The other one is, the management is pleased to invite the shareholders to a lunch. Okay. Now, these are the two sentences. Now, which one appears to be very personal?
The first sentence, ma'am.
Very good. Very good. And it is kind of less informal and personal. Whereas the next one is totally formal and impersonal.
Impersonal. Yes.
Impersonal. That's the tenor, okay, of the discourse. Right. So, now here we go with the domain. So what do you mean by the domain? Yeah?
Area.
Area. Very good. The language may it be written, may it be speech. Now, the kind of language we speak, especially, now this is called as a domain. What is that? Now, for example, in medical field, this is one domain. Legal field, okay, legal or a law, that's another domain. Journalism is another field, another domain. Advertising, another domain. Religion, okay, you have several editorial board of a probably a newspaper or so. That's a different domain. Have you ever seen a medical, probably a medical vocabulary coming into legal thing? So sorry, not the legal, maybe into the advertisement or a journalism? No, they have their own jargons. They have their own registers. That means a language which is specifically used for that particular domain. Do you agree with me? Yeah. For example, yeah, let me tell you. For example, in a scientific discourse, probably there is a kind of a speech or a written thing, a text by a scientist or a scientific discourse. You happen to come across several terminologies like the sodium chloride, H2O, okay, HCl, and so many other being mentioned there. Okay, fine. But then in your day-to-day routine in your house, do you call the water as H2O? Do you?
Water.
Water, isn't it? Then, yeah, it's water. H2O is water, right? And do you call the salt as sodium chloride? Though salt is sodium chloride, but do we call it by that name of sodium chloride? No, we say salt, a normal salt, right? You're getting my point? So there is always a change in the language according to the domain. Okay. Then again, you see the educational academicians, they speak about pedagogy, and they speak about the teaching methods, student-centric, pupil. Do we come across this into the legal system? No. There we have different jargons, different registers. They're called as registers or jargons. In legal terminology, what are the things we come across usually? Lawyer, advocate.
Penalize.
Yeah? Penalize. Very good. Trials, isn't it? And justice. Okay. Yeah. Suit. Filing a suit. Okay. And you have the return petition. So you understand what a domain is in terms of discourse?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So when you are writing to, say, for example, a formal letter to somebody, you have to also look for the domain. Same way, when you are going for a speech, same thing again, there are domain-specific language. Okay. So this is what a domain is all about. So here, understanding the context, the domain or setting of a discourse significantly influences the language used, the tone, and the overall communication dynamics. Knowing the appropriate domain helps us, help speakers tailor the message and interact effectively. So this is very, very important to understand the domain. Okay. And see, most of the times in the people from the educational field, the academicians, if you've sat through their sessions, that is totally different from from people of holy saints. They also give some sermons. Yeah, there are certain speeches by holy people, spiritual leaders. There is a variation. Have you noticed? Yeah, from the academicians' discourse, there is a difference of the language, the registers, the jargons used to even sometimes even with these journalists also, they kind of use a different altogether, and the editorials of the newspapers, right? Now, formal versus informal domains. Informal domains like academic or professional settings, the language is typically more precise, structured, and elevated. Informal domains like casual conversations allow for more colloquial and relaxed speech, adapting to the audience. Now, another important thing is your audience. See, for example, when I take a class for a first class child, my language, my words, my tone, and everything changes. Why? Because the audience here is just a child of one first class. The age of the child is very important. Accordingly, we have to customize our speech or written format. So skilled communicators understand how to adapt their discourse to the specific domain and audience. Now, this helps ensure the message is clear, relevant, and well received. Also establishing credibility. Now, using appropriate domain-specific language and conventions can help establish the speaker's credibility and expertise within that field of context. Right. Now, coherence and cohesion in discourse. Yeah. I think just before the beginning of the session, you all had a doubt with this coherence and cohesion. You remember? You asked me for the difference. Yeah?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So it's like, whenever you are speaking, as I already told you, it should be, it should have a cohesion. One sentence after the other. There should be a kind of a link between the sentences. And it also has to be coherent. Okay? Coherent is nothing but arrangement of the words in a proper manner in a sentence. Okay, that has a sentence framing should be there properly. Also, the linking of the sentence between the sentences should be there in appropriately done. The linking should be done in a proper manner. Okay, like as I told you, there is an intro, there is a kind of a body, there's a conclusion, and not just that. Now, even when I'm speaking, you would have noticed the sentences have to be grammatically correct. Otherwise, you won't understand what I'm teaching. How can you say that it is grammatically correct? When you hear the sentence, you should be able to get the message, what I'm trying to convey. That is called coherent. What is cohesion? Sentence after sentence should be linked. Clear? Right. Now, when you talk about cohesion, okay, now in most of the discourses, may it be a written, may it be a speech, you find these conjunctive markers. Okay, see, even when I am trying to speak, like, and, but, and then, so based on their meanings, these words can be classified as additive. Okay, additive or what, and, or, similarly, or adversative, that is but, however, nevertheless. Okay, or causal, so, consequently, because. Okay, and temporal, then, finally, at last. So if you actually read a piece of text or listen to somebody's speech, you will have these placed according to the necessity, according to the words which are required. So they are actually called conjunctive markers, and that is something which gives you a kind of a cohesion, a kind of a connectors from one sentence to another. Okay. Now, again, there's another important feature called co-reference, which can hold a text together. Okay, that's called co-reference. So sometimes we have words in a sentence that refer to entities mentioned in other sentences. Okay, now for example, I'll tell you, there are two types of co-references. Okay, they are like a cataphoric and anaphoric. Co-references, that is, now if I say a sentence, the first part of the sentence you will not bother to look at. you will try to look at the second part of the sentence. Now, for example, a cat came in, it was hungry. I said a cat came in, it was hungry. What happens? Yeah?
We focus on the second part, latter part.
Exactly, exactly. And it was hungry. What was that hungry? Yeah?
Cat. The cat was hungry.
Very good. So we try to look for this first part. It was hungry. Okay, a cat came in. And okay, another example I'll tell you of the cataphoric. Okay. Right. For example, this is when he looked back, he saw it for the first time. A huge tiger was following him. Yeah. And this is a cataphoric relation. Okay. What is it? When he looked back, he saw it for the first time. Then what happens? Immediately there is a curiosity in you. You will try to see what is that it. You want to see the next part of it. What is that? A huge tiger was following him. Yes. Isn't it? Sometimes when somebody is narrating also, we are so curious to listen what has happened in the end. So, there was, it was, the door opened and it was pitch dark. I could see somebody walking in. And that who's that somebody we are so curious to know, isn't it? So it's such a kind of a sentence. It's a cataphoric. Getting my point? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
So this is called co-reference. So that is anaphoric and cataphoric. Okay. Now the next part of it is implicatures and maxims of conversation. What is implicature? Implicatures are the hidden meanings and unspoken implications that are conveyed through conversation. They go beyond the literal words used. That is called implicature and maxims of conversation. See, here we are talking about discourse. So one is that we spoke about the language, what it has to be used, the domain we spoke about the tenor, okay, and medium. Okay, one more point I think I missed. What is the medium of language? What are the mediums of language? Please tell me quickly. How do we convey the language, whatever it is, whether it is English or Telugu or whatever it is? How am I going to convey it? What is that is called a medium? Huh?
Sometimes it may be using words, sometimes gestures.
Most of the time, okay, sometimes you're talking about sometimes. What of the most of the times? What is it? What is the medium? Very good. Very good. Excellent. Speech, another medium?
Writing.
Written medium. Okay, this is the medium. So, under discourse, we looked into the medium, speech and written. Okay, and then we also looked into the tenor. We also looked into the domain, isn't it? And cohesion and coherence, isn't it? Now, after this, next comes implicature of the discourse. What is implicature? Now, somebody says something, but if you have noticed, I think we also would have worked out on these worksheets of implicit answers, implicit meanings.
Implicit.
That is
inner meaning.
Very good.
There
is a kind of a meaning to a sentence which is untold. I mean, whenever you read a comprehension, there is always an explicit meaning. Explicit is which is told, which is obvious, which is on the surface. You read it, like for example, a cat is a furry animal and it lives in probably in, it hides itself in when it faces some danger, it hides over here or something like that. Then, there's a question. Describe the cat, the animal cat. How does it look like? Has a furry animal, something like that directly. But there are certain types, questions which will ask you to answer something which it implies. Okay. So that is called as implicature. So if you've noticed, when people also in their conversation, or sometimes even the novels, when you read fiction and all, there is always an implicit meaning in that. Have you ever noticed? The author writes
Yes.
something, but there is an underlying meaning to it, isn't it? Not just the writing part, when you're speaking to your friend also. Probably she's a friend, but she's not happy with you. And suddenly she makes a kind of a sarcastic remark about something. You mean to say there is an underlying meaning to it. That's called an implicature, isn't it? So what are these implication and maxims of conversation? So somebody wants to say something, but they may not say it directly, isn't it? So for example, Mustafa is thin, but he is healthy. What does it mean? There is an underlying meaning to it. That means all the thin people are unhealthy people. Did you see this implication, implying meaning to it? Mustafa is thin, but he is healthy. What does it mean? Yeah, but he is healthy. What does this indicate? This but? It means that thin people are not healthy. It means that. Huh?
Not all people are healthy.
Exactly. Okay. So another one is, so this is what is called as implicatures. Okay. So you kind of get a hidden meaning from that kind of a. So the conversational implicatures are derived from the maxims of conversation that people generally obey when they are engaged in an act of communication. Okay. Okay. Let me also tell you about the maxims of conversation. Now, here we've got the implicature. You all understood about the implicature?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. There's one more sentence. Let me tell you. Mustafa is thin and he's healthy. What does this mean?
Being thin, he is healthy, ma'am.
Very good. And here it doesn't say that all the thin people are unhealthy. Did you notice this? Using a but and a and
Yes.
as a conjunction, there is a difference. Did you notice? See, if I read Mustafa is thin, but he is healthy. This is one meaning, one interpretation. The other one is Mustafa is thin and he is healthy. Okay. It means that it doesn't mean that being thin is unhealthy. It means that he is, of course, thin and he is healthy. It's a casual kind of a, but an implicature or an implying meaning to a sentence. Okay. Now moving on to the maxims of conversation. Now look at this word maxims. Maxims means how
Principle.
much. Let me give you the meaning of this word maxim. You know maximum, you know the meaning of the word maximum? Huh? Maximum and minimum?
Yes, ma'am.
More.
Yes.
Maximum for
Yeah.
more.
Yes. So here in
This is a legal term.
conversation, you can so give an answer to a question. The maximum maximum of quality, the kind of answer you will give, maximum. Okay. And I think my voice also was not audible. Looks
Yes,
like,
ma'am.
yeah,
Yes,
Yes,
there
ma'am.
was a kind of a disturbance. Right, right, right. I noticed it. That was from my end only. There is an internet issue here. I could notice. Yeah, hold on for a second. Yes. Now, is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So, right. So, maxims of conversation, that is quantity, quality, relation, manner. These are the four maxims of conversation. Please remember, quantity is like you provide just enough information, neither too much nor too little. Okay, that is called principle of quantity. Now, for example, for example, where are you going? If a question is asked. So the answer would be, I am going to Hyderabad or Hyderabad, right? Now tell me, how is this? Like, is it or is it? Yeah.
Ma'am, your voice is breaking.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. I agree. I agree. Now, is it
Yes, ma'am. Clear, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
okay? Whenever there is a disturbance, kindly let me know. I can pause for a while and then continue. Okay. Right. Now, look, are you going? I'm going to Hyderabad. How is the answer? The quantity principle of quantity, maxims of quantity. Is it appropriate or do I have to give something else to it? Yeah. Is it appropriate? Where are you going? I'm going to Hyderabad. Is it appropriate?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Hence, the principle of quantity, here it is. Okay, which is absolutely not exceeded. It's kind of apt. It's correct. Right. Next, we will give you another answer. So where are you going? I am going to the house number 128 on the second lane in street number 12 in Jubilee Hills in Hyderabad. What does it mean? Is it correct?
Exceeded the quantity.
Very good. Yes. So it is not. So here the principle of quantity is been, okay, it has been exceeded, isn't it? So this is not correct. So one has to really look into the principle of quantity. Another is principle of quality. Okay. Quality is what? Yeah. Offer information that is true and supported by evidence. I mean, you should not be faking something, isn't it? You should not give a wrong information. Offer something which is true and supported by evidence. Okay. Now coming to, wait, I'll go principle of quality. Yeah. Then we have the maximum of relation. Stay relevant to the topic of conversation. Sometimes we've noticed people trying to, cross their limits, or sometimes they kind of deviate from the topic which is given to them. Maybe in terms of writing, also maybe in terms of their speech, if you've noticed it. So that is maximum of relation. Then maximum of manner is be clear, concise, and avoid ambiguity or obscurity. So please remember these 4 points to be remembered. Yama, somebody called me?
Maximum.
No? Yeah? What is it? I didn't get you.
Ma'am, can you please tell me about maximum of quality?
Quality is you talk, which is the fact, which is truth, and supported by evidence. Supported by evidence. When you are trying to say, for example, there is a speech given by a politician or a speech given by an academician. When you are speaking, make sure that you are not just uttering a statement just like that. The information, if supported by evidence, it will be all the more apt according to the discourse. So that's called quality. Right. Information, quality, be truthful, base your contribution on evidence, relevance, stay relevant to the topic, be clear, perspicacious, avoid ambiguity and obscurity. Okay. One small example I'd like to give you. One example. Yeah, please tell me, what is it?
Ma'am, coherence and cohesion, they come under manner, ma'am. Here, consider all these four. Do they come under
Okay,
manner?
that can be taken good. Yes. Okay. Now here, when I say manner, now cohesion and coherence is actually spoken about the entire text. Okay. Now manner is about a particular statement. Okay. Yeah. As you said, they can both be related. They can be related. And relevance also can be, it should be relevant to the topic. Getting my point?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it, Ma? Can tell some, whoever it is. Right. Now look at this example here. Oh, I like it's, see, Jenny, how do you like this novel? That's the question. And look at this answer. Oh, I like its red cover. Oh, I like its red cover. Look at this. The cover is clearly not red. And Jenny's response is not what one would expect when deciding if one likes a novel. So this is a violation of maxims, is called flouting. Flouting or flouting. So we do not expect the maxim to be violated. Flouting must be motivated. Right. Who is that, Ma? They have muted. Right. Next, moving on to Surender G. Please don't scribble on the screen. Now we are moving on to Unit 20, Varieties of English. Okay, this is the last unit for the day. I hope you all know there are different varieties of English. Basically, English has originated in, England, brought down by the German tribes, isn't it? Okay. Now in this, what are the various English you find, Ma? We have the American. Yeah, please tell me.
American.
Very good.
Canadian.
Australian.
Canadian.
South African.
Very good.
African.
Yes. Very good. Excellent. So these are the various English we find, like British. These are the varieties. Can you see the screen? In British,
Yes.
you have American, Australian, Canadian, Indian, South African, New Zealand, Nigerian. And what is the thing? They differ in vocabulary. They differ in pronunciation. They differ in grammar, usage, and sometimes even in spelling conventions. One best example I'll tell you from British and American, you have this word color. That's one common example I can mention all the time. What's the color of British, color, spelling of color of British English?
You are.
Okay, very good. And we follow the British English itself, isn't it? Indians, yeah. And what about Americans? What is the spelling of color? It is OR. OR. There is no U in that, right? So then we have
Center also.
very good, correct, exactly. Okay. Right. So we have a kind of a dialect of the same English spoken differently in different regions, like South American English. There is a very pronunciation differences, such as the pronunciation of pin and pen as homophones. I mean, they pronounce these two together as the same word. Okay, then you also have the word, the sound of ya for y'all, or and the grammar, you have double modals like might, could. Okay, so these are certain variations in the English of American thing, where South in American and North American, there's a kind of a differentiation. Okay, now let us look into the standard British English and standard American English. That is what is given in your textbook. Okay, we are just specifically taking up only the standard British English and standard American English, and we're looking into the differences in terms of phonology, that is pronunciation, in terms of orthography, spelling, and okay. Now coming to, now British English uses words like flat, lift, and rubbish, while American English, now in terms of vocabulary, look at the difference here. American English prefers apartment, elevator, and garbage. When it comes to spelling variations, British English, and please remember, British English is always called as RP English. That is RP. RP is received pronunciation. Yes. So British English spells words like color, theater, and organize. This is the spelling, while Americans spell it this way: color, theater, organize. There is a Z. Okay. Whereas the Britishers use it as S. And that is how Indians are also accustomed to writing S for organize. But sometimes the computers aren't taking this S. They show it as an error, a red line under that, and they want us to write it as Z. Have you noticed? Sometimes it is happening in some of the, computer languages, right? Now coming to pronunciation, most of the British English often pronounces words like schedule with a sh sound. Okay, here it takes up schedule. Okay, for the British English, whereas Americans use it as schedule, schedule, and schedule for American English. Right. Then here it is again. English speakers in the UK often pronounce words with a more clipped, precise articulation, such as pronouncing the r sound in words like car and start. Start, right? In American English, if you look at it, in contrast, Americans generally speak with a more relaxed, rhotic pronunciation, often dropping or blending certain sounds like pronouncing water and, okay, water, water. That is how they're going to pronounce it. Okay. And whereas in Indian English has its own unique pronunciation patterns influenced by the speaker's native languages, such as a tendency to pronounce th sounds as fur and were. Okay, let me just give you another and please tell me, when it comes to a native speaker and an Indian English, why is there a kind of a difference? When an Indian English speaker, a speaker of the Indian, when he tries to speak, what is the difference and why is there such a difference between
because
a non,
because of the influence of mother tongue.
Very good. There's a lot of influence of mother tongue. Hence, we have varieties of English in India alone, isn't it? And that's how they call it as Tenglish, English, and even Bengali people's English is kind of different, isn't it? Yeah. And
This one.
yes. And some of the South Indian speakers of English often insert the sound of ya at the beginning of words like, elephant, yeah, and egg. They use the sound as ya, okay, and some
Even Muslims, ma'am.
Amma?
Even Muslims, ma'am.
Uh-huh.
Instead of school, they say school. E
No, no,
comes
no, no, no,
before
no.
S.
Let me tell you. Let me clarify this. Here, it's not just the, one sect of people. Most of the people, in fact, not just one category. Even for that matter, even Hindus or whatever it is, let me tell you, that is because it is a consonant cluster. Y, S, C, H. All three are consonants.
Consonants.
Whenever a word comes with a consonant cluster, okay, people who are not exposed to the pronunciation pattern would like to add a vowel sound to it. And hence they bring in an E sound before that school, isn't it? So, not just one particular group of people, but most of the people, okay, they tend to use this word as school. And not just that, because it's a consonant cluster. It's very difficult to pronounce, okay? For that matter, even the Telugu people also. Yeah. Another word I'll tell you, glass. They call it as glass. Why? Because GL is a consonant. Both of them are consonants. So most of the words, wherever you come across a cluster of consonants, you get to hear a different pronunciation. They add another vowel sound to it to pronounce that word. Got my point? So that's called a consonant cluster. And there are several consonant cluster words like that. So every time you have a words with the consonant coming, consequent, kind of, in a group, in a cluster, the pronunciation is quite difficult. Okay? Right. Yeah. Okay. Here again, I've given you some examples of this lexical differences. You have idiomatic expressions, spelling variations, loan word adoptions. Okay, like why is there a kind of a divergences in the vocabulary? So this is one. For example, the vocabulary used in one second. Standard British English and standard American English can differ significantly. Words like pavement, whereas in American thing it is sidewalk. Okay, and sometimes the boot or the trunk. Okay, these are the regional variations. Now, idioms and colloquial expressions also diverge between the two standards. Having a go is a UK version, whereas taking a shot and cheeky is a UK Britain idiom, which says sassy. Okay, these are some of the differences in their idiomatic expressions. Coming to the spelling variations, of course, we've seen quite a bit of words, right?
Yes. Yes, ma'am. Many.
Yeah. Yes. And again, there are the borrowing and incorporation of loan
Ma'am,
words
your
from.
voice is not audible, ma'am.
It is,
Okay.
ma'am.
Okay. Sometimes it might be fluctuating, but now is it okay?
Yes,
Still, it's fluctuating, ma'am.
Is it?
No,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
It's current, ma'am.
And it is getting disconnected, ma'am, again and again.
Okay. Okay. Is it for everyone or is it from one? Everybody feels the same thing?
It seems
No, ma'am, it's clear.
from her hand, ma'am.
Okay. Okay.
No, ma'am,
Right.
everything is clear.
Okay. Thank you. Right. So here the borrowing and incorporation of loan words from other languages also varies. For instance, you have heard this word aubergine? Eggplant. What is
Yes,
that?
ma'am. Brinjal.
Brinjal is called aubergine, or it's called as an eggplant of the US. Okay. Or then you have the courgette of the UK and zucchini, which reflect different cultural influences. Okay. So Again, Indian English, a vibrant and dynamic variant, showcases distinct features shaped by India's diverse linguistic landscape and cultural heritage, and from pronunciation to vocabulary. It reflects the country's rich multilingualism, influenced by local languages. Indian English incorporates unique idiomatic expressions, loanwords, and nuanced grammatical structures that lend it a distinctive flavor. Okay. By the way, I told you that I'm going to share the PPT. Okay. And coming to
Sharing
the
the group.
yeah. That's what I said. I will be putting it up in the group. Now that I think you've added me to the group, I didn't get any invitation link.
No, ma'am, not yet.
I
Nobody has
already,
added.
Rebecca.
ma'am, I have already sent you an invite.
Oh,
Can
is
you
it
please?
Rebecca?
Yes.
You are the admin, ma'am?
Yes. I'm one of the admins.
Oh,
So
great.
yeah, I've already sent the invite.
Oh, right. Excellent, ma. So I think I'll join the group and there I'll be sharing the PPT, link of the PPT. Okay, then because it's of the Google slides. So I'll be sharing the link there. And also okay, here let us quickly discuss the paper pattern, right? So hope you all have an idea as to how many marks it is. How many marks? Let me just have a quick
70
70. The 30 is for
assignments.
very good. So you all have submitted your assignments?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And have
Ma'am,
any idea as to
Ma'am,
yeah.
Ma'am,
Please.
is it 30 out of 30 or
are added,
maximum
ma'am.
of
That are
20?
not there in the same group.
Oh, no. Please listen. Have one common group beta because I don't want to kind of, be into so many groups because already my college people with my people, I have so many other groups over here. Then it will be a kind of a confusing for me.
Yeah. Rebecca, ma'am, can you please add me to in the same group, ma'am? Their PPTs are sharing, please. It would be helpful for us.
Yeah, for me also. Please requesting.
Ma'am,
Yes,
PPT is
those who are all,
Hmm.
one minute.
Yeah.
Those who are requesting, kindly send me your admin admission slips so that I will know. This is the
ma'am, we are
instruction
there
by,
in
hold on, ma'am, 1 second. Madhuri ma'am, our HOD, has instructed because everyone from different groups are getting added and even outsiders who are not students. So there was a chaos a while ago. She had to remove some of them, and some of them have been advising or suggesting people to get onto these guides and stuff. So she was not happy with it. So she was removing and she instructed us not to add everyone. So those who were doing this mistakes, she has removed and she told us not to do that. So please don't mind when you're asking me.
ma'am,
I'm not
okay.
adding
We
you.
understood you. Last time when you told us, we understood. But the thing is, if this PPTs are provided, no, just we don't want to be in the group, ma'am. Just for PPTs only, we are asking. We have our own groups, but now what ma'am is giving, no, it is more helpful to refer. So even morning British literature, ma'am also told she has shared only for that notes only. We are repeatedly asking. Only that is the thing, ma'am. Else.
Yes. So what I told you, if you do that, maybe I will try to add you. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. I'll provide my number in the chat box. Could you please ask my ma'am?
No. Personally, you have to send me your admission number, then I will add you. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Because I will share in our own groups. We will not disturb, ma'am, anything. We won't post anything.
Yeah. That's what nice of you.
Okay.
That's what I expect from the groups. Okay. This should be purely academic purpose. Okay. Where you have some clarifications or some kind of doubts and where you have some queries about the subject, then I'm always there. Most welcome. Only thing is, I don't want any other extra kind of, other stuff being posted in the group. Okay.
Yes,
right. And no personal messages also, right? When I'm being a part of the group, I hope.
Any no, ma'am.
Yes. Right.
Thank you, ma'am. And thank you, ma'am, Rebecca, ma'am.
Yeah. Most welcome. So,
ma'am, I have one doubt, ma'am.
Yes, please.
I have called the toll-free number, but it's not connecting me.
So,
So, if I apply for the exams, if I'm not able to attend I will be not able to attend the exams. Should be there any supplementary, ma'am? Will there be any?
Not really. I mean, you will not be having any sort of supplementary exams for that. Probably the next coming year at the same time, you need to apply, I think so. That's how, as per my knowledge goes. But then, otherwise, also, why don't you talk to Madhuri Madam Beta? She's the right person, in fact. She being the dean of the institution now. Ma'am is the dean now.
Okay, ma'am, but I'm trying to reach them, ma'am, but it's not. It's not. Number is not connecting.
Okay. Otherwise, you can just inform your group admin.
Okay.
She will contact the person and then she'll get back to you, I'm sure about it. Yeah. Otherwise, I'll try to figure out the process for this. And if at all, if I am unable to do it, just try to contact your admin, group admin. Maybe she has her number. She will try to figure out what it can be done. Yeah.
Ma'am, we do have two spells, ma'am. This is annual one, and another one is in either in Jan or it might be in the month of December.
Okay.
So we do have two spells, ma'am.
Oh, what do you mean by two spells? You mean to say 2 semesters?
Two spells, no, not 2 semesters, ma'am. If she skips this one also, this exam, final exam also, she can appear for the second time in the month of January or December.
Oh, so that's like a supplementary only. You mean to say it's a supply, right?
Yes.
You have it.
Yes.
See. Oh, you got the information, na? Vinoda was asking actually.
Yeah, ma'am.
Actually, the whole thing is in the FAQs brochure book. When you take the admission, they provide you brochure. So in the FAQ section, when you get into the FAQ section, you'll find all these things, Vinoda madam.
Yeah. Please look into it, Vinoda. You please look into that. Yeah. I guess there's a brochure and you can look into it and you'll find all the information, relevant information about that. Right? Yeah. Please tell me. Tell me, ma.
How are we getting your notes?
Well, I'm not preparing any notes as such because the book itself has an exhaustive material. It's been compiled by very eminent authors, so editors and all. So it's only the PPT which I'll be sharing. That's what you also requested, right? You said, ma'am, we want PPT so that we can prepare it.
PPT.
Yeah, not the notes, because notes are already there. It's an elaborate textbook, in fact.
I mean,
PPT detailed. Also. Yeah.
Okay. So you are going to share that in a group? Okay.
Yes. I'll share the PPTs in the group. Most probably by today or tomorrow, I'll be sharing it with you. The PPTs or any other communication for that matter, you can ask me. I will also try to respond to that, whatever query it is. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Welcome, dear.
Nice.
Yeah. Most welcome.
Thank you.
Ma'am, one second.
Yes, Rebecca. Tell me, Rebecca.
Yeah, I would like to make you an admin too. It would be better if you also add the students because
no. Please, Rebecca, let me be a, kind of member of that group. That's it, dear. Don't make me an admin. Only thing is that provision is there, like where I can message or I can reply. That's enough.
Okay.
That's enough, better. I don't want to be the admin.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, you continue to be the admin.
Okay. Thank you.
So I hope no other queries. This being the final session, it was nice. Okay. Then I want you all to go through your textbook. And it's really very nice. I mean, each and every block, you take it up in the block. One more thing I wanted to tell you. One of the, I could somehow get the audio of the phonetics transcript. Okay. That also I'll be sharing it in the group. Okay. And it's very well given, the audio, the pronunciation of all the phonetics symbols. Okay. So I want you all to learn that and listen to it, because I remember in the first or the second class, you people asked me for an audio so that it will be helpful when you are practicing it as to how to pronounce it. Okay. And maybe I'll just try, I'll see if I have it. Oh yeah, it's here. I'll put it in the chat box. If you can please take this. Okay? Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
Right. I'm just putting it in the chat box. You can copy it from there, these links directly. Here it is. So somehow I managed to search and get these interactive phonetic chart where the sounds you can practice. Are you able to see in the chat box, Ma?
No, ma'am.
I sent it in the chat box. You didn't get it?
Wait.
No, we didn't receive anything.
Check the chat
No,
box.
ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No?
No.
One second. I think it is going to Rajni. It should go to everyone in the meeting. I'm sorry, I didn't change it, so it reached only Rajni. Right. Now?
Yes, we got it.
Yeah. Just copy paste it into your any document. And I'm also sharing it along with your PPTs, of course. Don't worry. But for time being, you can take this and practice it. Right. That's it for today. Okay. Have you all copied the link? Otherwise, also, I'll be sharing it in the group. Don't worry. Right. See you all. Okay. Have a nice day and also prepare for your exams. Any sort of doubts, you can bring it up in the group.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Welcome, dear. Okay, let us disperse for the next
Thank you,
session.
ma'am. Thank
Ma'am,
Yes.
excuse me, but
Thank
you
you, ma'am.
aren't,
Now, Shin, tell me better.
ma'am, you aren't added yet in the group.
See now, Shin, Rebecca being the group admin, she looks like she has sent.
Yeah,
She has.
you need to accept it, ma'am. I've already sent the invite.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, that is how it isn't showing, I think so. Yeah, I'm there now.
Just check. Nausheen, can you check?
Ma'am, you kindly check your WhatsApp once.
No, dear, I did join. I can see your. Now, you please check.
Added, ma'am. Added.
Added now? See.
You are added, ma'am.
Yes, that's what. Okay. Right?
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Welcome, dear. So anything will definitely be in touch with through this WhatsApp group or any sort of queries or anything. I'm always there. Okay? Right.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, welcome. Okay?
Thanks, ma'am.
Yeah, ma.
Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome, dear. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, welcome.
Very nice lectures, ma'am.
Thank you, Niharika. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome, dear.